thought we'd take this last video to talk about deck building. Now, as I mentioned before, deck building is one of the coolest parts of the game, but it's also one of the more advanced parts. So you really don't need this video to learn how to play, but we thought we'd include it anyway because it's just that cool. Now, a Magic deck is at least 60 cards, and no more than 4 of any one card, unless it's a basic land. You can have as many of those as you want.
Yeah, about 20 to 25 cards in your deck are going to be lands, about a third.
And you probably want to have a pretty good amount of creatures in it, just to make sure that you can not only win the game with your creatures, but defend yourself against your opponent's creatures.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of the examples we've been using have all used single color decks, but most of the time players like to use 2, 3, even 4 or 5 colors in their deck, so don't exclude that as an option when you're building your deck. But you definitely want to consider what colors you want to use based on the strategy you want to employ to win. So let's see what you guys have been working on here.
So I'm working on a black or red deck, and these are 2 very aggressive colors. So this is an aggressive or an aggro deck. The red is really a bunch of little creatures that start chipping away your opponent quickly, and the black is a lot of removal that gets the opponent's stuff out of the way. So I get my goblins down, I start attacking, and then I start blowing guys up with Dark Banishing, Volcanic Hammer, and some of the bigger splashier removal cards.
So how do you win with this?
Fast.
Fast.
Fast, fast, fast. I try to win before my opponent can get set up.
Right, because if you get in the late game, you're kind of in trouble there.
Most people would be in trouble. So what are you working on, Alessia?
Oh, I'm working on the opposite of you, kind of a blue and white control or permission deck. It's great to neutralize my opponent's little threats near the beginning while I build an advantage, and then at the end I can swoop down with a big killer creature like my 5/6 flyer Jin right there.
Yeah, 5/6 flyer would be pretty tough to deal with. I also notice you're playing a lot of counter spells.
Yep.
Now, counter spells are kind of a special kind of ability, and they let you keep a card from ever getting into play. So if your opponent tries to play a creature that you really don't want to see, you can play a counter spell on it, and the creature never even hits the board. It goes straight to the discard pile. So it's a pretty good way to establish control over the board, and it's where the word permission comes from. You're basically granting your opponent permission to cast that spell. I also like the Icy Manipulator. That's a pretty slick artifact there. And basically what that lets you do is spend mana to tap your opponent's stuff.
Yeah, I can lock down an opponent early in the game, tap their cards before they can do anything with it.
It's a really good disruption card, and it's kind of annoying to see on the other side of the table, too.
You can put someone in lockdown pretty quick with a few of them.
So I've been working on a combo deck, because I noticed that in the black theme deck, there are a lot of creatures that have special abilities when they come into play, like the Necrotal. He says, when the Necrotal comes into play, destroy another creature. So I thought, how could I abuse this? And basically, how can I keep playing these same cards over and over again? One of the ways is there's a whole slew of cards that let you play your creatures from your discard pile. So my plan is to play the Necrotal, kill one of your guys, block with him so that he dies, and then play my Zombify to put him back into play, kill another one of your guys, and do this over and over again until you're out of guys. And then I just swoop in with a bunch of big creatures. So basically it's a way of abusing something that I saw in the decks and tuning my deck to where it's just focused on doing that. So
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So these are just a few examples of decks. There are a ton more out there. There's lots of strategy in the game. And you can check out magicthegathering.com for deck ideas, for strategy articles, community, all sorts of cool stuff there. Also, they release 4 sets a year. So these are new cards, new combos, all sorts of new stuff to explore. So be sure to check those out as well. And that's it. I think we're done. I hope you've learned a lot about Magic. We've sure had a good time making these videos. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you at the store sometime.